Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Friday morning the 28th of March. In this video we're talking about the Sebastian Rogers case, and it's a direct reply to some people, a lot of people actually, who commented on the last video that I did on Sebastian's case. Sebastian Rogers, a very sad day. Somebody said that the thumbnail was clickbait because it looks like Sebastian was dug up. If you're talking about the digger, that little figure there is Sebastian. He's not digging up his own body, is he? Crazy. And then a few people said that it sounds like, from the title, that Sebastian had been found. No, I said in the first, 30 seconds, that it was a really sad day. It was a sad day for me. I was demoralised because it was 13 months to the day that Sebastian was reported missing. I recorded this on the 26th of March. Sebastian was reported missing by his mother, Katie Proudfoot, at 6:33 a.m. on the 26th of February 2024. 13 months to the day, and no one is looking for Sebastian. That was my point. Given all of this furore that has happened with Sebastian's PI, SF Investigates, there's no one looking for Sebastian. So a lot of you commented and said, yes, there are. There are people looking for Sebastian. All right, okay. Let's consider that in this video and why this is really dangerous. This is a really dangerous aspect and a sickening aspect. I'm going to go so far as to say this is a sickening aspect of Sebastian's case. Let's go. Okay, so before I begin, I'm going to mention a creator, and I'm saying this with respect because this creator has gone boots on the ground, has spent time, has spent energy searching for Sebastian. So I'm saying this with respect. It's not this particular creator that I've got the problem with. It's not this creator that has sickened me. All right, let's make that very clear. And also the footage that you're seeing right now is from last week when I was out searching for a missing man in my local area, just 6 miles from where I live, someone called Darren Orme. Darren has now been found, sadly deceased. However, I'm using this footage for a reason, which will become clear. All right, so the creator that I'm talking about here is Silver's on the Scene. Now, this is a channel that I've never watched. I think maybe I saw one of his videos very early on in the case. I think, maybe, possibly. I mean, look, there was a lot of people making search videos early on in the case. I do believe I have seen maybe one video from this person in the past, and for whatever reason, I can't remember why, I've just never followed them, so they don't come up in my suggested videos or anything like that. Okay, but this is the last video that Silver's on the Scene did, and again, this is not an attack on Silver's on the Scene. I say this with all the respect in the world, because Silver's on the Scene has been out there multiple times, boots on the ground. You can see this is footage from a pond, and that's 2.4 miles away, I think he says, from Sebastian's home. So there he is at the pond. So he's out there. He's been out there many times. So I give him kudos for that. I give him respect for that. But here is the sickening thing. Because of the misinformation, because of the lies, because there are people believing those who've got the loudest voices. They're getting the most views, they're getting the shout outs. I'm talking here about people like Mob Crew. They're getting shout outs by Jennifer Coffin Dodger, who think that this is great work. And of course, I'm talking about the theory that has been put forward, not just by Mob Crew. Again, I'm not having a go at Mob Crew. One of the neighbours has been out on these YouTube streets spouting the same nonsense. Bonkers Binocular Bobby who's the Geordie Sue of this case, she's made herself suspicious, even though I don't think she did anything. I don't think her kids did anything. But she's made herself suspicious because of the stuff she says. Like, it's all hearsay. She wasn't out there, but apparently Katie was seen carrying Sebastian in a blanket, and then they got to the ditch, and then Chris was there. None of that has any factual basis to it whatsoever. That did not happen. Categorically did not happen. But the people with the loudest voices, the people who people just believe because it fits their, oh, Katie did something, Chris did something, all of that theory that has no basis in fact whatsoever. I follow facts where we can get them. I follow evidence where we have it. And the lack of evidence is evidence. The lack of evidence of Katie actually being out there carrying Sebastian, there's no way. I think Bobby also believes Seth's involved. All three of them are involved. I think that's what Bobby believes. Absolute nonsense. Chris was 3.5 hours drive away, and Seth was at work in Davidson County. So, no, they weren't there. Anyhow, this is why it sickens me. This is why, and I'm just going to play a few seconds from Silver's on the Scene's last video.
The common area, you do see some of the common area when we came back by because there's lights on that corner house now that were not on that night. Allegedly, when Sebastian was brought out to the car at 3 a.m.
Silver's on the Scene is working from the theory that Sebastian was brought out to a car at 3 a.m. It's the theory that people like Mob Crew and people from the Green Team are pushing. It even made its way onto Nancy Grace. She very quickly took that episode of her podcast down. It was absolutely sickening that somebody with as much reach as Nancy Grace believed this nonsense that Sebastian was carried out to a car at 3 a.m. The lights video. It wasn't 3 a.m. at all. The 3:11 timestamp is stuck. The timer is stuck. There was no one out there at 3 a.m. in the common area. And a car being seen in the neighbourhood just before 3 a.m., well, that was nothing to do with Sebastian's house. And as the TBI have told us, all vehicles in that neighbourhood, in that area, during the time that Sebastian could have disappeared, have been accounted for. Every single car has been accounted for. So here's my point. Silver's on the Scene is spending his time, his energy, his money on searching for Sebastian, but because he's using a theory that is wrong, he's being misguided. He's not using his time and his energy effectively. He's gone to this pond 2.4 miles away because it's an area where you can pull in. So, you know, if Sebastian was taken in a car and then dumped in this pond, it's an easy place for people to just pull in. If Sebastian had been put in a car at 3 a.m. or a different time and dumped in a pond, okay. But if there was evidence to lead you to suspect Sebastian had been abducted, then yeah, great. Search these ponds 2.4 miles away. Is it possible Sebastian walked 2.4 miles? Yeah, of course it is. And then he just fell in a pond? Yeah, it's technically possible. But Silver's on the Scene is going from the theory that's been espoused by the Green Team, the theory that has had the most legs, the theory that is wrong. So Silver's on the Scene. However much respect I have for him for actually going out there and doing some boots on the ground searching, he's wasted his time and his viewers' time because he's working from a theory that is flat out wrong, in my humble opinion. It's not just an opinion. It's not just an opinion. There's no evidence that that theory is in any way accurate, because the basic premise of that theory, that there was lights in that common area at 3 a.m. No, there wasn't. No, there absolutely wasn't. because that camera is stuck. And the car that was in the area at 3 a.m. has been accounted for. TBI tells us that. Now, why am I showing you footage from my search from Darren Orme? Because I'll show you how you should be doing a search. I'm not saying I'm a search expert, but I do have common sense. So I'm just going to give you a little synopsis of Darren's case to make you understand. So Darren was last seen about 9 p.m. on March the 5th at this intersection here of Woodhouse Lane and Scott Lane. This is in Wigan. There's been no sightings, nothing of Darren since that time. So it was looking a lot like he was in the water. If he's here, there's a place where you can get onto the canal and takes you to the canal area, and then you've got the river here. So this is the Leeds Liverpool Canal. This is the River Douglas. And this river is really shallow. I really didn't think Darren would be in this river, even though I walked a little bit of it. Where was he found? He was found in the river. I was shocked. I was shocked when the news came out that Darren was found in the river. This is my Strava map. This is where we parked. This is where we started. Why is it made one line in like brown? I don't know. But we walked parts of the canal, we walked through this wooded area, and then we walked a little bit of the river. Ignore this. That was us driving home. And that's actually Scott Lane. We drove past Scott Lane and Woodhouse Lane on the way back. But yeah, I forgot to turn the Strava off, so it gave the car journey as well. But this was the search area here. And the reason why I chose this area, I had to make a guesstimate. Let's assume he walked along the water. He could have gone this way, towards Gathurst. And I figured that maybe he didn't. I did talk about it. You can hear me on camera talking to Kyle. That what if he went this way? We may not even be in the right area. But I made this guesstimate because his beloved football ground, his football team, Wigan Athletic, play here, and I thought, well, maybe he's walked, for whatever reason, in the direction of the stadium. I had nothing else to work from because there'd been no sightings whatsoever. Anyhow, that search we did in the morning. That afternoon, the police made a statement that they were looking for dash cam, and they made another appeal for sightings of Darren in this particular area. So this is Woodhouse Lane, Beresford Street, this area, I think it's called Mears Land or something like that, and then this area. So very, very specific area, very specific. Now, I didn't know about this information when I was out there. If I'd been aware of this information, where would I have started my search? I wouldn't have assumed that we were starting here and then maybe Darren walked towards the stadium. We crossed over the river at a little bridge and we went left off that little bridge. If we'd gone right and walked in the opposite direction along the river, we'd have been in exactly that location where Darren was found. Because Darren was found by the police in the river. A very shallow river, you can see the bottom. Very shallow river, slow moving river. But he was found in the river behind the stadium, so it's going to be this area. And we turned left. We were probably within a few hundred yards of Darren's body. And if we turned right, he would have been right there. But why did it take the police so long to find him? Why did it take anyone so long to find him? Because, you know, there'd been 100 searches out on one day, community search. Loads of people have drone mapped this area. Like this area where I got Cassie to search. It's like bracken and there's no trees or anything like that. But there's a lot of little crevices and stuff. So if his phone or his shoes or something had been lost in that area, a drone possibly wouldn't have picked it up. So I got Cassie to do that. I mean, there's a lot of overgrown areas, but not a really difficult area to search at all. I mean, there's more ground than you think there is. When you look on the map, there's more ground than you think there is, but there always is. But if we'd had that information from the police when we went there, we'd have turned right and walked along the river this way. And I'd have been saying, I don't think he's in the river, I don't think he's in the river, it's too shallow, he would have been seen, someone would have seen him on a drone. But no suspicious circumstances, we don't know the cause of death, but that's the area the police indicated, and then he was found in the river behind the stadium, so somewhere along here. And I swear down you can see the bottom. I swear down you can see the bottom. That's how searches work. You might have regrets, but you go off the best information you have at the time of that search, like I did. The best information I had was a sighting here. And then I did a guesstimate that maybe he was heading in this direction, so we went up here, between the stadium and Scott Lane. It seems that Darren maybe went past the stadium, or maybe he went down Woodhouse Lane, walked all the way down here, but I think he would have been seen if he'd done that. But possibly he went past the stadium, for whatever reason, why he was out, I don't know, and then somehow ended up in this shallow river for some, I don't know, I was shocked when I heard he was in this really shallow river. But here is how this connects with Sebastian's case. You can search an area 100 times. You can have multiple searches. You can have drones. You can have helicopters. The helicopter was out the day we were there, circling this area. And then it was days after that he was found in a shallow river. Do not underestimate the power of water for hiding bodies. But let's nip over to Tennessee now, because this is how it's relevant to Sebastian's case. Sebastian made it home that night, but because the people whose voices are the loudest are saying that Sebastian was, I don't know, forced into a car or was put into a car at 3 a.m, people are assuming that he's left the neighbourhood. Therefore, people are not actually looking the most likely places that Sebastian is. People have said that there was no dog track. There absolutely was. We see Max, the German Shepherd, around, 7:40, 7:45, 7:50, we hear over the dispatch audio that Max dove right into the pond, the retention pond, which is right here. So Max started off here, and you see him on the camera running up here, on a trot, and then he dives into the pond. Was Max definitely tracking Sebastian, though? We don't know, because he wasn't scent specific. However, the dogs that came after were scent specific, and we see this bloodhound in the neighbourhood at the top here somewhere, and that dog is definitely on a track in the very location where there was the shadowy figure at 12:17 a.m. Was that shadowy figure, shadow man, was that Sebastian? Could easily have been. No, it wasn't the dog walker. There was a dog walker out there. It appears that the 12:17 shadow man might have been avoiding the dog walker, but it was a different person than the dog walker. Was that Sebastian? If so, anybody thinking that Sebastian got into a car at 3 a.m, where there's absolutely no evidence of, is wasting their time and their effort and their viewers' time. You're wasting your time. I'll say again, no one is looking for Sebastian in the places he's most likely to be. I would like to see a thorough search, and this would have to be led by law enforcement. In the construction site, you're going to say, Michelle, it was searched. Yeah, it was. I'd like all the drains searched again. Caleb Harris was found 4 months after he disappeared in the drainage system that had been searched. I'm not going to let this drop, guys. And I think if Sebastian was heading out for a walk somewhere, I think he was heading north. I absolutely do think he was heading north. So if he's not in the construction area, I think he's in the woods somewhere here, or maybe to the west. So Silver's on the scene, and anybody else who has the capacity, the capability, the time, the energy to go out there, boots on the ground, unless you clear every inch of this and you're going to say, yeah, but it was searched. Yeah, it was. But that shallow river in Wigan had been searched. And there was Darren Orme. We see it again and again and again and again. Tyler Goodrich. I did a video looking at the similarities between the Tyler Goodrich case and Sebastian's case a couple of weeks ago. Tyler was found 967 yards away from his home, despite that area being searched extensively. We now know that Tyler's manner of death was suicide and he'd hung himself. So when volunteers went through that area, they weren't looking up, were they? They weren't looking up. It's so easy to miss someone. So easy. They could be incredibly close, but perhaps in an area where you're just not looking. They could be right there. So I appeal to people like Silvers on the Scene and anybody else who has the capability, the capacity, the time, the energy to go out and search. Please, don't trespass, get permission, but please go to the areas where Sebastian is most likely to be and stop believing these green team nonsense spreaders. It's sickening. It's sickening that people are spending time and energy and people are watching this stuff when they're in the wrong places. They're believing the wrong information. It's sickening to me. It's dangerous. This is why this misinformation that's being spread is dangerous. It's making Sebastian potentially never to be found because everybody's barking up the wrong tree. All right. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.